Thanks for tapping in with the Already Council Social Club. That's excellent vision. Good looking out.
As always, give us a like, share, subscribe, keep the algorithm moving up, you know?
We appreciate you, man. And we got a special live show, actually our first live show together. And LA, we're experiencing some traumatic fires. And I do want to first issue my condolences to the 16 people that have lost their life, their family members, and their friends. It's terrible, and it seems like the degrees of separation have shrinked because of social media, and everyone in LA pretty much, and I don't feel bad saying that, knows someone that's been affected by the damn fire. So we're gonna talk about it from our perspective and just look at some clips and break down what we think could have been done different or whatever. But it's kind of hard to even say with all this shit going on. What you got for him, brother?
None, let's just run into it, you know. We give them what's going.
All right, we're gonna listen to a few people and then watch some stuff, man. Y'all bear with us on this.
City's burning, the city's burning. That's the mood right now. That's the mood.
You go to the Rose Bowl. That's the Rose Bowl. That's the command center. That's no. But what I'm saying is, if you have a heavy matter that may require escort.
About time you got the National Guard out here.
Yeah, because people was looting and doing shit like that, trying to take advantage. So.
And although we in the hood and these are areas outside the hood or whatnot, it's still a part of LA and it still has still gonna have some type of effect on us one way or another.
Streets we drive by, places we go to visit, people we know have been affected. So it's not just only the actors and the rich and wealthy people that, you know what I mean? It's a lot of like regular community people too that kind of live in those nearby adjacent areas.
Yep, the middle class people. Winds are coming before.
It's crazy because when you can see visions like that last vision from your window or from the hill, like when I was driving in last night, when you could see smoke all over the city and not many lights as you usually would see, it's like, bro, it's like it's real.
It really was looking apocalyptic because the shit had the moon all looking all like fire red and everything in the night sky. It was crazy.
Tell me you didn't get that Amber Alert that told you to evacuate.
I didn't get that one.
I got an alert telling me to evacuate while I was at work. Me and the coworkers looking around like, we about to grab our stuff and leave. And then like 5 minutes later, they sent another one saying it was a false one. It was for another area, not the area we was in, but shit like that. Thank y'all for y'all service, for real.
Man, those the real heroes right there. Firefighters, first responders. Wow. Playground gone. It's crazy.
Tesla, right? For that one, man.
The fires are not only displacing, people from their homes, it's displacing the animals and the wildlife too.
Talk to him for a second, bro. I'm gonna bring up a couple of clips.
We got deers and rabbits and all kind of stuff running from up in the hills, coming down in the areas and coming down in the neighborhood, seeking shelter. We got ash all in the air falling all over it, and it's crazy how it's just floating through the air like that.
Yeah, ash was all on my car. I came out like, bro, it's
But the embers are traveling just as far as the ash is and setting shit on
So
fire.
that's how the fires are getting spread. Yeah, and the wind are actually kicking back up. They said tomorrow. So starting tomorrow, Monday, and then continuing into Tuesday. But the LA Times owner.
With us now, owner and executive chairman of the Los Angeles Times, Dr. Soon Shiong, Dr. Patrick Soon Shiong, whose paper just today released an explosive investigative report on how ill-prepared Los Angeles was for these devastating wildfires. They report, quoting now, Pacific Palisades Reservoir was offline and empty when the firestorm exploded. It's good to see you, sir. Thank you. Never as local news reporting and important reporting needed more in times like this. When your team of reporters brought you this, that the reservoir was offline and empty, what was your response?
That it's so crazy that we have leaders that are reactive rather than proactive. I mean, it really emphasizes what I tweeted yesterday about issues of competence. And I think that's when we're really concerned. We don't elect people with great operational competence.
Yeah.
It's never when one thing goes wrong, it's when multiple things goes wrong. We argued last night that what we are seeing is not a failure, but is a success of policies, that the policies that were put in place have led to these events. Is that pretty much how you see it as well?
Wait, they argued that this is a success? Or are they arguing that in the sense of this shows us what needs to be done for the future, being proactive instead of reactive, hopefully? But I mean, I don't like.
They're saying like all these regulations and rules or whatnot block the ability for upgrades and stuff like that into the system, or it takes a long time to get those permits to make those upgrades. And also failure in leadership to not recognize that those upgrades are important and needed. So they need to fast track it in some kind of way, you know, some type of executive order to cut through that red tape.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, right, there's really no surprise that we would have fires. In fact, we lived through a fire just a couple of years ago. So the idea that, for example, we don't create fire breaks, we actually reduce the budget. We actually don't inspect the hydrants. Apparently there's we'll be doing this investigation of a valve that actually could have increased the pressure, the absence of water in the reservoirs. Now you hear all these excuses, and I just heard this excuse about disinformation. I mean, I think that's outrageous when you have thousands of acres burning and 10 people are dead. So at least. So yes, I think the policies were misplaced. We have to ask our questions, where are we spending the money and why? And what is the sort of planning and the logistics skill sets of actually preparing ahead for this?
$20 billion spent by Governor Newsom on the homeless problem, if you will, their projects in California, the homeless rates went up. I say this respectfully because the best defense against incompetence and these kinds of policies is local news, is tough reporting and asking hard questions.
So like we said, when you throw gifts out, it encourages people to want to be broke so they could get the gift. Like, so the homelessness went up. He spent whatever
20 billion?
Billion.
Some of that is lost money. And some of that is money that they don't even know what it was spent on, what it was used for.
His pocket. That's me saying that. That's just me saying what the public thinks.
To the point that he was just ending with, saying that it takes tougher news reporting. What has the media been doing in the last 8 years? They've been battling Trump. They ain't been worried about infrastructure and what's really going on with the city and everything like that.
I think that's why the one guy, once he said we're not endorsing anybody from the Washington Journal, the owner of the paper said that. I think that was Bezos. Who owns that?
Yeah, Bezos.
A lot of people started quitting because it's like, we're supposed to be
focused on us.
Well, no, moderators. They're supposed to be moderators. Just tell the truth as it is, not from no one's point of view. Just you're giving the news. You're the news.
And objective. That's
and once you lose that, you're not viable as a news source. And that's why things like YouTube and things like that are actually, you know, blowing up. Creators like us.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Hit subscribe.
People turn to
share the video.
independent news sources, you know, through YouTube, TikTok, wherever they can get it that they feel is a more trusted source.
And I'm gonna say it. Look right here. Like, I'm gonna say it. Look right here on the screen. We had Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom there. Now, I'm only speaking on Karen Bass because of her actions, okay? She put the city in a state of emergency and flew to Ghana. She flew back into Ghana, got pressed by the media, didn't have anything to say. Now, I could understand if her next comments were, it was a lot to take in. I was flying in. I seen smoke in my city. I wanted to hurry up, get back to the city and get to the people and get to work. You know what I'm saying? So if that was her next comments, that would have been fine. Then we got the fire chief coming out saying what she said. And then we got all these videos about the DEI hirings and all of that. It's just becoming a lot. And then once we find out that there actually was a lack of due diligence, the reservoirs, the fire hydrants, the water pressure, the undermanned department, like,
it's crazy. And people are trying to say, like, oh, what was she supposed to do? She can't fix it. It's not about what she can fix and stuff like that. It's about not being accountable to just answer simple questions. How do you feel about the fires going on in the city right now, Madam Mayor, as you're returning? It's horrible. I'm just returning. I'm getting to see firsthand what's going on. Like you said, I could see the flames from the air as I'm coming in.
But I'm going to get right to work. That would have been simple. Cut.
Bam.
I got to go get to this work. But
no, she stood there frozen.
Well, but see, this is the thing, because they was throwing real shit at her. Because when she said, well, what about the 17 million budget you cut? See, that had something to actually do with her.
Well,
if she cut a budget by 17 million, that had something to take back in from the fire department. There's also a response
for that too. This is not the time to get into that right now. Right now, I'm focused on the fire and how we can go into proceeding and to assist the fires.
Well, dare I fix my lips to say that's why we want men leaders in leadership positions, because they tend to come with better spontaneous reactions, which mean they're dealing with the pressure better. But then we got Gavin Newsom lying. He tried to come with something, it would have been good, but he came with a damn lie.
He's a charlatan, you know what I'm saying? He's basically a charlatan. He's a magician. He's here with smoke and mirrors, y'all.
So should I let this play out? Because I got another one I wanted to...
go on.
I had another one for you.
The most significant water restoration project, bringing back salmon and steelhead into this basin.
Here that we used to see when you looked up in the foothills was crisscross fire breaks and fuel breaks. They were all over the hills. And I spoke to a fire chief yesterday who used to work on those teams in the 70s and 80s. And they stopped doing the fire breaks and brush management really initially because of migratory patterns of a mouse. And then because they started convincing themselves that there were other ecological effects of what they were doing. So therefore they could no longer do the routine management, literally, that we did 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So if you want to take aim at climate change, let's say it is climate change. Let's say it is. What are you going to do about it? What's your plan? Let's say it is. Everything you're doing is being undone by fires. What's your plan?
Climate is changing. Adapt.
No, but how about this? Basically do the same thing you would do to your home. Rake your lawn, clean up the dirty leaves, the dry leaves in the trash. Throw that out.
A fire hazard if you got all kind of dry leaves growing.
But it's illegal to clean our forest?
Like crazy.
Because of the mountains?
No, you get cited by the city if you got your grass growing up too high and you ain't cutting down your lawn and whatnot, you know?
But it looks like the state, you just build up as much trash and dead trees.
When they from homeowners, you know, when stuff is piling up or whatever.
But if you're the state, you could just let this forest build up with dead leaves and dry trees and stuff like that, and then you wonder why the heat.
No, and then say, hey, we all know it's gonna burn, right?
Because of climate change, which they're telling you is getting hotter and hotter. This is
anything but govern is what they're doing.
I first want to throw to this video of Rick Caruso. And for those of you that don't know Rick Caruso is basically a legendary commercial real estate developer who built all of the huge malls of the Pacific Palisades, which miraculously that mall happens to be still standing. He built the Grove, which is a very famous mall there, the mall in in Glendale, thank you. And here he is, and he ran for mayor, so he could be the mayor right now, except he lost. He lost to Karen Bass. Here he is calling into Fox, talking about, well, you'll see some of the inefficiencies, let's say.
My heart goes out, obviously, to the people with their homes, and I'm watching the small businesses around us go up in flames. This is people's livelihoods, so it's devastating. But what is most concerning to me is our first responders and our firefighters who are trying to battle this. There's no water in the Palisades. There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city.
So no water coming out of the fire hydrants. And Drew, before I let you chime in, let me just throw to a reporter asking Gavin Newsom about exactly that yesterday.
What is the situation with water? Obviously, in the Palisades, ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter on this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe one fire. You have something of this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local.
Well, that gets to your exact point, that so whether we want to lay all the blame, and obviously there's acts of God, so I'm not sitting here.
Get your little talk to you.
He smiled while he was doing that. Man, that's wild. I wanted to show the clip of him lying. The concerned parent ran up on him.
His house on fire too, because he got a nice house too, a big $2.7 million mansion or whatever.
Man, it's wild, bro. He got ran up on by a mother, and she asked him XYZ about the water and the budget and things like that, and he said, back up, basically. I'm on the phone with the president talking to him right now. She said, oh, cool. Put it on speaker. I want to hear this conversation.
No, I'm trying to get in touch with the president right now.
And the signal can't get a signal, but he lied to her. Basically, my point was. So yeah, he flipped it when she asked him, go ahead, put it on the speaker. Then he said, no, I mean, I'm trying to get in touch with the president. I've been calling him and whatnot. And then she asked him, well, why ain't the president taking your call? You're the governor.
You're the governor. Oh,
and then he flipped it, but I'm not getting a signal. You feel me? So he keep lying. He lied, like, you feel me? So
it's called script flipping.
So, you know, that's basically my take on it, man.
That's what a salamander does. They slither.
The wind is kicking up, so I'm watching for alerts. Ashes is flowing and blowing on my car, blowing outside. Like, the air quality is down.
Wear a mask.
Got to wear masks.
Anywhere near the fire.
So, you know, again, my condolences. And I think this shit could have been avoided. We have poor leadership.
It could have been minimized. It couldn't have been avoided. It could have been minimized.
Well, that's what I mean. The tragedy of it. The 16 deaths.
Right.
The
that's
spreading.
Part of minimization too. Because it wouldn't have engulfed in such a bigger flame. It would have been a more manageable fire. Fire crews would have had water to be able to do their job. Then on top of that,
I think
over 100
a lot of losses
engines.
would have been avoided.
There's over 100 fire engines that are sitting in what they call the boneyard, which is their mechanic yard for the fire engines that are out of service. And that's part of the budget cuts, because that cut all the civilian positions to be mechanics and repairmen for the vehicles.
Yeah, that would have helped a lot of that stuff be avoided. Like I said, the 16 deaths, I think that was avoidable. You know what I mean? Because when the fire broke out, unless it was initial death in the first fire, the reaction time would have been sped up. The actual resources would have been there. And as we started watching the videos and the clips, it was just, I think, a tragic drop of the ball.
Condolences to the Nickerson family. You know, they lost their patriarch, their father. So, you know, that family is the founding family of the Nickerson Garden Housing Project. So, you know, that's a part of our Black history out here in LA. And, you know, our condolences and our sympathies go out.
All right, hit him with the shit, bro.
All right, y'all. As always, man up, not man down.
Maintain, not man tan. And we out.